Welcome back to another edition of the GridIron Throne podcast, episode, what would you say, 6 officially? Officially,
I have no fucking idea.
yeah, I don't know. We might have to just do a reset and just do it from there. But joined by my co-host here, the Sheriff Rich. How we doing today?
We're doing great. Last day of school was on Friday, so no more fucking little bastards ruining my life. And yeah, it's gonna be good. Feeling good about this summer.
Perfect. Yeah. Big news with that. You're coming back for a little bit, so that'll be fun to, do some in-person live draft or not drafts, but little podcasts, maybe a couple mock drafts, harass people, the usual.
Yeah. Get a couple guests as well, of course.
Oh, of course. Yeah. We'll do a couple live ones. We should do a couple in person. We'll do a couple interviews in person again with some of the crew, even people from non-league. It'll be kind of fun just to get some outside perspective on some teams, not just us being biased on it and just ripping Pat constantly or going from there.
There's a reason.
Oh yeah, of course. There's always a reason. He's the only person I know that actually has a ton of picks and still learns how to fuck up a draft. Granted, you know what? That live drafts are very tricky because if you're not set up with like a computer right in front of you, everything's perfect. You fuck up.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, but so probably going forward, we'll have to go do our what we do with all the rest of our drafts is just slow draft and draft like that. We could do it we could still do it potentially all in one day just because it's only 4 rounds. But yeah. So on this podcast, I'd say we'll just do a little recap of our 4-round draft, and I will share my screen and we will do that. What was your initial thought on it?
My initial thought was that when AR didn't go one through 5, I was like, oh my God, he's going to fall to me at 10. Obviously didn't fall to me at 10. But it kind of played out how I thought it'd play out. Didn't exactly see Gibbs and Addison going. I don't know if, does he have Kirk Cousins as his quarterback?
No, I actually had the little Adam Schefter of the league. I actually discussed it with Dave before the draft, and he told me beforehand, and I kept it tight to the vest too, which was actually good on my part. But he told me he was going Gibbs and Addison. The reason he went Addison over JSN was because Addison is the better short-term, immediate impact. So, hey, I want to contend, but I have picks and they're going to be impact players. He got 2 of them immediately that would, in my opinion. You and I are both high on Addison. Now, long-term, I think you're going to see JSN just be elite. And, of course, it fell to Jeremy, the guy who can literally just sit there and just, let his team just formulate for years, make small enough moves, and just leave it as it is. Don't trade your picks. Don't do that. And you know what? When's the last time outside of maybe the first year that you were in it that he hasn't been a contending team? You could go back in the records and he's always in the top 3, top 4. So, I can't really criticize him too much.
Yeah. We got Pat taking Quentin Johnson, Zay Flowers at 8-9. It's probably what it was going to be anyway. Most likely in any other draft, that's probably where that's kind of falling.
That's the range. Yeah,
it's the range. It's definitely the range. Maybe could have addressed a need first. I don't know. If I were him with one of those picks, I would have reached for Levis just to have him. Feel like that's very important for him.
Yeah, he's got a lot of what if QBs. He's got he's got Lance and Purdy, so it's okay, worst comes to worst there,
right?
Ritter was kind of, but he had a lot of trouble with the auto draft too. That was what was funny about that draft, and with it being live too, is he ended up kind of messing up on it because I don't know. He said he had technical issues. Who knows at this point with him? But I mean, Quentin Johnston's not a bad fallback option. He's kind of like a JSN, but he's on a team that the wide receivers also get hurt. So he'll get the immediate playing time. Zay Flowers will be a nice complementary piece in a year or two. Just because Lamar's back, which is huge for them. I did like you taking Mayer. I was kind of surprised you didn't go Kincaid over.
It was one or the other. And basically Kincaid obviously is in Buffalo. and I have Dawson Knox. So basically, one of two things happen with this. Dawson Knox plays up to what he got paid to play to, which was like 4-year, 55 mil, I think, something like that. Way out of what he was worth at the time. So either he plays up to that and performs and I can start him, or his ass gets cut and then Kincaid's going to start. But for me, it was either way. Michael Mayer is going to be the tight end in Vegas no matter what.
Yeah.
And that
I mean,
guy's a fucking unit of a human.
he's awesome. I mean, yeah. I mean, you were pretty much in a win-win situation with either of them if you go tight end, and it adds depth behind TJ Hawkinson on your team. So you can never have too much, especially in a tight end premium, because you could, even if it comes down, worse comes to worse, you start both of them if they're both popping. Dawson Knox isn't like, he's still on Buffalo too. Like, that's the thing. I do think Kincaid's going to be out in a slot, but they don't know what they're going to do with him. And it usually takes a couple of years for tight ends, even wide receivers, to kind of pop up. The average time frame, it was 3 years for wide receivers. Now we're starting to see these Jamar Chases, the Jeffersons, the Garrett Wilsons of the world playing up to like their potential immediately. Now, is it based off their QB? Maybe, but I think these guys are just super talented.
Sure, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Yeah. And then we got Pat leading off the second, which was Zach Charbonnet. I think it's a steal. I mean, it could go either way. Pete Carroll likes to use multiple backs. And I think that was a big thing with that draft pick. And it kind of took away a little bit of Ken Walker's stock. Now, is he the better back? Yeah. But Chardonnay is still going to be there.
Yep. It's going to be an issue with a lot of teams, that whole scenario, actually.
Yeah, it's gonna and that's why the fantasy landscape is gonna get real interesting in the next couple of years, because we're gonna see a lot of the bell cows finally kind of enter their second contract, third contract, and then they're gone. You know, they're look at Zeke, Fournette, Kareem Hunt, they're still not signed.
Right.
They're either do the Latavius Murray's where they just sign either mid-season or take a league minimum and just be like a guy that just fills in.
Yeah, it's possible.
Then we had the follow-up was Devin Akane, Will Levis, Hendon Hooker. Yeah.
Let's fucking learn their names, Jeff. Jesus Christ.
Hendon Hooker, Sam Laporta, Kincaid went at 6 or 6, which was.
I can't believe Laporta went before him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one was a surprise. I mean, I just didn't see why he kept falling. And I thought he was going to fall to me in the 3rd round, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
This was a typical homer pick for Pat because
you knew that was coming.
I thought it was.
And then the classic follow-on, the classic follow-on. He's just got to take a fucking defensive player in the second, because why the fuck not? Because it's Pat.
Yeah.
God.
Then followed up by Tank Bigsby, and then Jonathan Mingo.
You should say Tate.
Tank, yeah.
Tank Bigsby.
Yeah, Tank Bigsby. Have you seen I don't know if you've seen the chatter about him recently that he's going to be challenging NTN for the role. I don't think that's going to happen. NTN's too good of a running back to be just passed up on like that. I think it might be a thunder lightning thing. That's my favorite phrase, but that's how it is with that team. I think he might eat into his carries, but I think NTN's still the guy there. We're not going to just throw a rookie running back in there.
No,
not on that team. And then Mingo, might be a year or two project, but that's a good pick in that value. I think the oddest one was Hendon Hooker, figuring there's no guarantee he's even going to play.
That's so high. But that was the auto pick?
No, this was all him. This round, he was all solid. The auto pick was here with Quentin Johnson.
Which is fine. That was a fair auto pick.
Right. And then just I don't know why you would reach on Hooker.
Whatever. Yeah. He ain't gonna watch this shit anyway, so he's a dumbass. We'll just say that.
No, he'll watch it because it'll be on YouTube, so that's how we could get him to watch it finally. Or
nice.
Or the Spotify one. I don't know, either one.
Go fuck yourself, Pat. No.
The little PSA in between it. Round 3, which this was fun for me because this is where I finally got to play in the draft, was Kendry Miller, who has been going in all the drafts I've done so far. He's been in the early second, so like around 2-1, 2-2, and I think he's going to be the steal of this like class behind obviously Bijan and Gibbs. But I think he might be one of the guys that you're seeing like a year from now that just takes over that team and fits in perfectly. He's 20 years old and just an absolute workhorse. And yeah, Jamal Williams is there and Kamara. Let's not like play it out. Who knows what his contract, like if they suspend him,
Right.
or if they buy him out at the end of this
There's
contract.
so many unknowns with him too.
So many unknowns. We're gonna fall into like the Cream Hunt, the Fournette.
He's gonna want money, so we know that. Unless Kamara is like gonna be a realist about it,
Yeah.
Which he would be the first running back to date who is a realist about their contract situation. They all want fucking more money in their second contract. Now he said he's on his third.
It'd be third, yeah. It'd be like around the same time as like Zeke and all them. But you know, I guess they got to see what he looks like coming out. He's had, I mean,
he could have a huge fucking year. Yeah.
Yeah. And 2 years ago, like he was the number one running back in the league too, like for fantasy points. So you never know. I mean, it's a good in the third round. Everybody likes to rag on these late round picks, but see, this is why it's kind of cool to have them because if they fall, look what I just got. And then we had Jalen Hyatt go 3-2, which that one wasn't bad because that's around the round that I would like to see him go, either late second, early third, just because there's so many unknowns with
he's the best player on the board at the time.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
You would
wide receiver wise.
I'm thinking. I mean, I would probably go Mims over him, maybe.
Fuck no.
I mean, I guess the explosiveness is there for Hyatt. I guess you're right, but
Josh Downs isn't better.
No, I wasn't going to say.
Keyshawn fucking Booty is a little bitch from LSU, so not fucking gonna pick him.
Yeah, that one was he just had him in his queue and an auto pick too. So that's kind of funny, but yeah, I mean he's not going to do much because New England doesn't throw to their wide receivers. They kind of just pass it off.
They block, baby. Your job is to block if you're a wide receiver in New England.
Yeah. Like outside of Randy Moss, Edelman, but like that doesn't count. Like they don't draft wide receivers to go out and ball. Like
Edelman was drafted to block.
And he's also got to play behind Juju, Devontae Parker.
Yeah,
I think Bourne's still there. Like we'll see what happens with him. And then obviously he didn't have enough roster spots, so we had to skip pick with 3-4. Then Jalen Carter.
What a dumbass.
Yeah, I know. I told you he fucked up the entire draft by doing that. And it was just hilarious because like, well, what were you doing? Like you had so many spots open. So like, why didn't you like clear them out beforehand? It's not like the draft was like a spur of the moment thing, but not bad. Then we had Tajay Spears go. I mean, he doesn't have an ACL, so that's
it's concerning.
I mean, in the third round, it's fine. I did pick up one stock of him just to see what would happen. He's behind Henry until further notice. Henry's still the guy there. They've gone through 3 or 4 backups that everybody keeps saying that is going to be Henry's replacement, and this never has. Spears could for like a year, and then he's going to go into the Todd Gurley's my knee is completely gone type thing. Jaden Reed and then Josh Downs. Good value there for both of those guys. Green Bay needs another wide receiver behind Watson. I'm not a firm believer in Romeo Dubes, whatever we call him.
Dubes, I believe.
Yeah, to be a guy. Once again, Pat had another skipped pick, which then let Mims fall to you at 310. Once again, great value there. Can't beat it. Fourth round, I had the first pick in the fourth. I had to go with Stetson Bennett. Had to go with him. I have Stafford. Worst comes to worst, Stetson Bennett learns from him from a year. Stafford retires. We have Bennett there.
I guess.
Not high on him?
You could have got him after the draft.
Probably.
You did not need to draft him. Like that guy was gonna be there. I promise you.
I mean, overall though, I mean, the only one that I probably would have considered would have been Rashee Rice, but
I mean,
it wasn't. Nah, I don't have Akers, so it really doesn't do much for me. Maybe Tank Dell, that would have been a decent one, but other than that, I was fine with letting whoever after that go. And speaking of waivers, my favorite pickup I got off of waivers was Luke Musgrave from the Packers too. Another good option. No more Tunyon, and might have just ended up with a tight end one off waivers. So pretty excited or pretty ecstatic, I should say, about that one.
It's very possible.
Yeah, Tank Dell would probably be like the steal of the 4th round there. Just because I know Stroud is high on him. He made that team like trade up to grab him too. Or Stroud did, that is.
Oh, did he? That's fun.
Yeah, he was pretty high, and he pretty much went into their draft room and was like, "Hey, go draft him." He'll ball out. He's a Houston native too, so it'll be kind of a fun little scenario. They got John Mechie still, but I don't expect much out of Houston. They'll win like their normal 5 games, and that's it.
Yeah, maybe they get Marvin Harrison next year.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison. Well, they don't need a QB, but wait, they don't even have a first, so that's gone. They traded it to for Will Anderson. That's right.
Yeah, to the Cardinals, right?
Yep. Yeah,
And
Cardinals. That's an interesting one too. Like, where does what's his name go? Kyler. I'd say Atlanta. I bet you they try. I mean, they could be. It could be a franchise player, but could you imagine Pitts, Bijan, and London all with Kyler or in Atlanta?
That would be exciting.
They'll win that or that. What is it? NFC South. It's so bad there.
Yeah, the Panthers, fucking Saints, Bucks.
Yeah, it was an interesting draft. Like you said, AR falling to 7 was like the biggest surprise to me that nobody took a risk on him. And yeah, I think the fear of his accuracy is what scares people away from him, at least from everyone I've talked to.
Yeah, with the added 4.4 speed.
I mean, he
fantasy wise, I mean, that's we're always looking for guys who could do both.
Cam Jackson.
Yeah, no shit.
His self-proclaimed nickname. Apparently, that was his own nickname he gave himself.
Wow.
I mean, he's as big as Cam Newton, if not a little smaller, and then he's got like the speed of LJ. So you never know. I mean, overall, I think this was like a solid team draft just across the board. I just laughed all those picks, and I mean, this is unacceptable here. Kincaid will be like a steal right there.
Yeah.
At 2-6 out of I mean, it's 10-man league, but still. Any surprises to you?
I don't know. Defensive players getting drafted.
Honestly, if Will Anderson was there, I was going to go him for sure.
Yeah, I guess Jalen Carter's worth a draft, but
both of them could be, because if he ends up becoming a like Khalil Mack in his prime, that's a solid flex play for you. Yeah, Gibby had Gibby had a nice little draft here too, with Bigsby, Mingo, Spears, a lot of what ifs, but like it could turn out nicely for him too.
Yeah.
And we got Cedric Tillman and then Sean Tucker. 4th round late. Who cares?
Yep. Nobody's.
Deneric Prince. Was that just like a random like pick, or did you plan that out?
We watched the scouting combine, watched the running back group, liked his cuts, wrote them down, made a mental note, said if this guy gets drafted somewhere, pick him up.
Yeah, and with how much
he didn't get drafted, but he's on the Chiefs, so
it'll be a nice little
he's like RB4 right now.
Yeah, still behind Jerick McKinnon, but it's not like he's starting. See, that's where you reach for like the value and see what you can get too.
Right.
But overall,
Pacheco falls into that category of last year.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he was one that like right out of camp, people were loving him just because of they saw how much speed he has. And it ended up turning out. So you never know. We'll find those guys. I think Rashid.
It's gonna happen. It happens every year. You just who's gonna be the quickest to get them.
Yeah.
Or who already has them. Yeah.
Yep. That's why you gotta stash them and kind of hope for the best. And then when you do it, we'll see what happens. It's been a fun little draft. I don't know.
Yep.
I like drafting in May. It's kind of fun just because it gives you something to do, and then you spend like the next 3 months just like watching reports. Oh, this guy looks good, or we're getting into that season. But we're also going to see a lot of like cuts. I think. I mean, Delvin Cook. We'll see what ends up happening with him, where he ends up going. DeAndre Hopkins. It's another one.
Chiefs.
Did see I saw a report. Apparently, he can't move very well. That's one report that came out that he's not moving too well. But I don't think it means shit when you have Mahomes or Josh Allen throwing you the ball. So
I would highly doubt that it would be Buffalo just because Diggs already has a fucking problem with sharing the spotlight. So I personally think if it's anywhere, it's going to be the Chiefs.
yeah.
And that wide receiver core is just dog shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and they're going to talk them up to like the receiving core that they have and say, "Oh, well, we like what we have, but I mean, if you could bring in an all-pro wide receiver like that, it doesn't matter. Just get them on the field."
Yeah, that alone is going to just change the dynamic of how the defense is, going to adjust to the offense when they have fucking zero threats at wide receiver, or like Kadarius Toney is your fucking threat.
Yeah, you'd almost have to give them the trophy too at that point if they have Tooney healthy, Kelsey and Hopkins, say less. All right, any closing words on the draft?
No, still looking on to start making moves now that we have landing spots for all these picks, and I'm definitely not going to just sit on my team. We're always going to look to improve because we're trying to win championships.
Yep,
and that's how it's done.
Yep. Yeah, little league news too. Me trading for CMC and Eckler, to go complement with my Barkley share too. So got my little 3 horsemen. Hopefully they stay healthy. If they don't, at least I have some depth on my bench that could replace them. But we're going all in this year, boys. We're going to finally, hopefully, bring home a ship. Year nine. We need to do it in this league because I can't mentally just do that. I was talking to Dave this weekend about it too, and he's like, "Yeah, your team. I might as well call you the Boston Bruins. Have the best regular season record and just choke in the playoffs." Which, you know what, it has happened, and I would take that one on the chin, especially with the way that this team is assembled.
Yeah, and if you have any first round picks that you're looking to get rid of, I only need 4 more, or no, 6 more. But send them my way. AJ Brown's on the market.
There you go. AJ Brown. Peace out.